Let's start our story. A princess between two worlds. In 69 BCE, a child was born in Alexandria who would redefine power and legacy. Cleopatra VII Philopatra entered a world of golden places and deadly intrigues. Heir to Egypt's Ptolemaic dynasty, a Greek ruling class that had governed Egypt for nearly 300 years since Alexander the Great's conquest. Unlike her ancestors who clung to Greek traditions, young Cleopatra immersed herself in Egyptian culture. She became the first Ptolemaic ruler to fluently speak the Egyptian language alongside seven others including Hebrew and Latin. This linguistic genius became her first political weapon in a kingdom where most rulers couldn't converse with 90% of their subjects. Let's start with chapter 1, which is Education of a Future Pharaoh. While other royal children played, 10-year-old Cleopatra could be found deciphering scrolls in the Great Library of Alexandria, debating philosophy with scholars, and studying astronomy with Egyptian priests. Her tutor Philostratos noted she absorbs knowledge like the Nile floods absorbed the deserts. This education proved vital when her father, Ptolemy XII, fled to Rome during a rebellion, having 14-year-old Cleopatra to witness firsthand how easily thrones could be lost. Next chapter is the poisoned crown. At 18, Cleopatra ascended the throne under traditional problematic custom, forced to marry her 10-year-old brother, who was Ptolemy the 13th. But sharing power with a child controlled by scheming advisors was untenable. When the court faction led by the eunuch Porteus orchestrated her exile in 48 BCE, Cleopatra didn't feed this right. She fled to the Egyptian-Syrian border and raised an army. The carpet that changed history. Julius Caesar's arrival in Alexandria, chasing his rival Pompey, presented Cleopatra with a legendary opportunity. Knowing her brother's forces controlled the place, she devised an entrance worthy of her theoretical genius. Had herself wrapped in a lined sack, later romanticized as a carpet, was smuggled past guards as a gift for Caesar. Emerged before Rome's most powerful man, not as a supplicant but as Egyptians' rightful ruler. The 28-year-old queen Bloodness captivated the 52-year-old general. Plutarch records Caesar being struck by both her spirit and her logic. Their alliance soon became personal when she became pregnant with Caesarion, little Caesar, the siege that forged a legend, which is our third chapter. The subsequent Alexandrian War in 48 to 47 BC revealed Cleopatra's strategic brilliance. When Caesar forces were trapped in the palace, she had fresh water smuggled through secret aqueducts. She allegedly ordered her navy burned to prevent retreat, forcing victory. After Ptolemy XIII drowned fleeing battle, she installed another brother, Ptolemy the XIV, as figurehead while ruling alone. Next chapter is revolutionizing a kingdom. Cleopatra's early reign transformed Egypt, reformed tax systems to ease peasant burdens, stabilized the currency using Egyptian gold reserves, revived trade routes to India and Arabia, positioned Alexandria as the Mediterranean intellectual capital. Her subjects worshipped her as is incarnate, while Roman senators whispered she is bewitched Caesar. When she visited Rome with Caesarion, her golden statue erected in Venice temple confirmed their worst fears of foreign queen influencing Rome's destiny. After the Ides of March, Caesar's 44 BCE assassination left Cleopatra vulnerable. Fleeing Rome, she watched as her protector's killers took power. Back in Egypt, she took shocking steps to secure her throne. Allegedly poisoned brother, husband Ptolemy XIV, made 3-year-old Caesarian co-ruler, executed her rebellious sister at Sinoi. These ruthless acts ensured no challenges remained, but a greater threat loomed. Rome's new triumvirate, Octavian, Lepidus, and Mark Antony. The meeting of myths. When Antony summoned Egyptian rulers to Tarsus in 41 BCE, Cleopatra staged history's most spectacular diplomatic entrance. A barge with purple sails and silver oars. Servants dressed as sea nymphs. Herself enthroned as Aphrodite. Plutarch writes Antony was completely spellbound. Their subsequent 10-day feast became legendary with Cleopatra, dissolving a princeless pearl in vinegar to win a wager, presenting Antony with Egypt's military might as dowry, securing his execution of her last surviving sister. Next chapter is a love that shook empires. Their relationship blended romance and real politics. In 34 BCE, Antony granted Cleopatra Cyprus, Crete, and Syria in the donations of Alexandria. They minted coins depicting each other as Dionysus and Isis. Had wins Alexandra Helios and Cleopatra Selene, then Ptolemy Phidias. But in Rome, Octavian spun their union as a threat, claiming Antony wanted to move Rome's capital to Alexandria. Next chapter is the War of the Propaganda. Octavian's brilliant smear campaign published Antony's will, possibly forced leaving Rome territories to Cleopatra, depicted their relationship as Eastern decadence corrupting Roman virtue. Declared war specifically on Cleopatra, not Antony. The psychological warfare worked because many Romans feared on Egyptian Rome. Actium, which is the battle that changed the world. In September 231 BC, the lovers 500 ships faced Octavian's 400 near Greece. When Cleopatra's squadron suddenly sailed through the battle line, Antony abandoned his men to follow. When Cleopatra's historian debate whether this was a planned tactical retreat, which was panic from a misread signal. Cleopatra, recognizing inevitable defeat, the result was decisive. Octavian controlled the Mediterranean Sea. The final days of the Cleopatra. Trapped in Alexandria, the couple forged a suicide pact. When false news came of Cleopatra's death, Antony fell on his sword. Bleeding out, he was carried to Cleopatra's mausoleum where they shared a final meal before he died in her arms. Facing Octavian's approaching forces, Cleopatra tested poisons on prisoners first, negotiated terms while secretly planning her end. On August 12, 30 BC, used an ASP, Egyptians scared Urius serpent to die as Pharaoh's death. The aftermath. Octavian and Caesarion killed out, spared her other children. Egypt became Rome's breadbasket. Cleopatra's death marked. Let's move to the next chapter, which is the end of Pharaonic rule. The last end of the Hellenistic kingdoms. The birth of the Roman Empire under Octavian Augustus. Thank you for joining me. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I will see you next time.